Thank God you came. How many more days could I wait? Make plans with you, and I won't let them fall through. I think I lie for you. I think I die for you. Jealousy cry for you. Do things when you want me to. Like control, yeah, like control. Don't work like that when you love somebody. My old flex is my new flex now, and we're working on it. That's why I need all the energy that you bring to me. My last girl would tear me apart, but she never wanna split a thing with me. But when it comes to you, I think I'd lie for you. I think I'd die for you. Do things when you want me to, like control. Like control, yeah. I never wanna waste these shots. I do it how you say you want it. Them girls, they just wanna take my money. They don't want me to give you nothing. They don't want you to have nothing. They don't wanna see me for your love. They don't wanna see me smiling like when they baby.
As I celebrate Juneteenth, as we celebrate the slaves, the prisoners of war who survived, as I'm walking and flying into Juneteenth with gratitude and for the resilience and determination of my ancestors, on whose shoulders I stand tall. This is Oma at Officially Black Tie Tatted. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. And to my supporter over there at Earth Journey at Officially Black Tie Tatted, I love you and thank you for your support. This is Oma at by way of Black Journal. Even George Washington had his hands in using slave skin for leather. They made book binders, they made shoes, they made belts out of the slave skin.
Thistlewood's actions are a stark reminder of the atrocities committed during the transatlantic slave trade. His use of enslaved people's skin for leather products is a chilling example of the dehumanization and exploitation that defined this period in history. Number 3, William Byrd II. William Byrd II, a Virginia planter and also a member of the Virginia House of Burgesses, who served as a colonial official. He is documented to have used the skin of enslaved people for leather products in the early 18th century. One such incident occurred in 1709, when Byrd killed one of his slaves, whom he referred to as Nico, during a confrontation. Byrd's diary entry on June 17, 1709, describes the event. I had a great dispute with Nico, who was insolent and obstinate. I struck him with my cane, and he died in a few hours. Byrd then proceeded to have Nico's skin tanned and made into leather goods, including a pair of gloves and a pouch. This disturbing event highlights the brutal treatment of enslaved people by Byrd and other colonial slave owners. Byrd's actions demonstrate a complete disregard for human life and dignity, as he saw enslaved people as nothing more than commodities to be exploited. Byrd's use of Nico's skin for leather products serves as a chilling reminder of the dehumanizing nature of slavery and the violence that accompanied it, apart from using the skin of his slaves for leather products, such as shoes and belts. Byrd's diaries also reveals a whole lot about his cruel treatment of enslaved people, including physical abuse and sexual exploitation. George Washington. George Washington was an American planter and slave owner who later became the first president of the United States. George Washington case is a disturbing example of the dehumanizing nature of slavery. In the 1750s, a British plantation owner in South Carolina commissioned a leather saddle to be made from the skin of an enslaved African person. The saddle was listed in Williamson's estate inventory, which included the notation, "a Negro skin," used to make the saddle. This notation suggests that the skin was treated as a material commodity rather than as a human remains. Megan Rosenblum, an American medical librarian and expert on anthropodermic bibliophagy, discusses how books are tested to confirm if they are, in fact, human leather.
The use of human skin for leather products is a disturbing reminder of the ways in which humans have commodified and exploited each other's bodies throughout history. These books are a tangible representation of the violence and exploitation that people have inflicted on each other. They are a reminder that the history of medicine and the history of slavery and exploitation are deeply intertwined. The idea that someone's skin could be used as a material and then bound into a book is just a really powerful and disturbing metaphor for the way that people's bodies were treated as commodities.
Rosenblum's statements emphasize the importance of acknowledging the dark history and ethical concerns surrounding anthropodermic bibliophagy, and of considering the ongoing impact of colonialism, slavery, and racism on contemporary society. One of the most notable events surrounding the black leather was the 1835 case of a slave named William Johnson, whose skin was harvested after his death and turned into a leather saddlebag. This incident sparked outrage among abolitionists, who saw it as a stark example of the dehumanizing nature of slavery. As the abolitionist movement gained momentum, the use of human leather became a rallying cry against the cruelty of slavery. In 1850, the Fugitive Slave Act was passed, which included provisions that prohibited the use of black skin for leather goods. Fast forward to today, and the use of black skin for leather continues, albeit in a different form. Companies like Human Leather use willing donors' skin for fashion products, sparking debates about ethics and consent. There's even a website where you can purchase human leather goods today, although they are closed to new clients due to high demand. And clothing isn't the only thing that these black slaves were made of. Ed Gein, an American enslaver, had a huge collection of objects made from human skin, including an armchair, a belt, a wastebasket.
Use of slave skin for leather. Black Journal.
In the chaos following the Boston mass killing, Crispus Attucks' lifeless body lay on the ground, his sacrifice fueling the flames of revolution. But amidst the outrage and grief, a sinister plot unfolded. A doctor driven by morbid curiosity and greed secretly collected Attucks' body, taking a portion of his skin without consent or respect. The doctor, John Warren, saw an opportunity to profit from the martyr's fame. He tanned the skin and sold it to a bookbinder, who crafted a small notebook from the gruesome material. Warren's plan was to peddle the notebook as a macabre souvenir, capitalizing on Attucks' legendary status. The notebook's inscription, "Made of tanned skin of the Negro whose execution caused the War of Independence," was a cynical marketing ploy, meant to entice buyers with its association with the American Revolution. Warren cared little for the symbolic significance. His goal was to line his pockets with gold. Attucks' skin, once a part of a vibrant living man, was now a commodity, reduced to a mere curiosity for the morbidly fascinated. The notebook became a dark symbol of exploitation, a stark contrast to the heroism and sacrifice that Attucks embodied. Today, the notebook resides in the Wellcome Collection in London, a haunting reminder of the callous disregard for human life and dignity that can accompany even the most noble causes. In today's video segment, sorrowful as it is, we're going to delve into the most dark and disturbing chapter of human history, a story of exploitation, cruelty, and the commodification of the bodies of innocent blacks who were stolen from their continent and shipped aboard the Atlantic to a foreign land, terribly tortured, enslaved, and as though not enough, whose bodies were, to the very extreme utmost degradation, used for the leathers of shoes, bags, wallets, furniture, wristwatches, and so on and so forth. We will explore the history of black leather, the people who were affected by it, and the lasting impact it has had on the lives of black people today. Before we go on, do not forget to support our work by hitting the thumb button, share feelings in the comment section below, and share video with friends and families to keep spreading our eye-opening black narrative. Also, kindly subscribe to stay tuned in if you are yet to. Let us dive in. Imagine to ever learn that the skin of certain humans were at a time harvested like animal hide, processed into leather, and turned into everyday goods. This is the dark reality of the transatlantic slave trade, where enslaved Africans were subjected to unimaginable cruelty and exploitation. In the early 19th century, a disturbing practice emerged in the transatlantic slave trade, where the skins of enslaved Africans were harvested and treated like animal hide to create leather goods. The use of black people's skin for leather, books, furniture, and other materialistic things has been in constant existence since the early years of the 1800s. It was a disturbing and well-documented historical practice. During this time, enslaved Africans and African Americans were subjected to unimaginable cruelty, and their skin was harvested after death or killing to create leather goods. This practice was particularly prevalent in the southern United States, where slavery was most prominent. Between 1526 and 1867, over 12 million enslaved people were forcibly brought to the Americas, with several million others dying during the brutal journey. Little were we told that those blacks who had died in the Middle Passage, whose bodies weren't discarded into the Atlantic, were preserved to further accomplish the inhumanity and barbarism towards the black race. They had been turned into black leather, a term used to describe the skin of enslaved people, tanned and treated to create shoes, belts, saddles, and even book bindings. This shocking practice was not only a manifestation of the dehumanizing nature of slavery, but also a lucrative industry that profited from the suffering of others. The process of making human leather was gruesome, with enslavers harvesting skin and treating it with chemicals and processes similar to those used for animal leather. This practice, known as the black leather, started in the Americas, particularly in the southern United States, where slavery was rampant. The use of human skin was first documented in the early 1830s, and it later gained momentum in the 1840s and 1850s as the demand for exotic leather goods increased. This practice was mostly prevalent in the southern United States, where slavery was most prominent. Enslavers would tan and treat the skin of these black individuals to create various leather products, including book bindings, wallets, belts, saddles, and shoes. This process was widely accepted and even advertised in newspapers and catalogs, with some companies specializing in Negro leather or black leather goods. The use of their skin for leather products was a further dehumanizing act, reducing their bodies to mere materials for consumption. Companies and individuals involved in human tanning obtained the skin of people through a web of exploitation and violence. Enslaved people who died or were killed on plantations or during transportation were the major victims. They had their skin taken without consent or respect. Indigenous peoples were also targeted, killed, and exploited during colonial expansion, their skin harvested as a byproduct of conquest. The Negro Leather Company, based in Philadelphia, is a perfect example of the legal organizations involved in this gruesome enterprise. There, they would procure human skin from enslaved people who had died or been killed. On most occasions, they purchased the bodies of these individuals from people who were willing to sell them, or from slave owners at high prices. After purchase, they'll clean and prepare the skin, removing flesh and fat.
It led to one customer walking out and demanding her car back. WRAL's Flynn Snyder talked with the shop owner about what happened. It started Wednesday when a customer in the waiting area at Synergy Auto Care asks, "Why are the banks closed?" An employee behind the desk replies, "Juneteenth." Leading to this comment from the customer. That's when another employee says, "I know, right?" Immediately, a black woman sitting in the waiting area starts to walk out, appearing upset over the exchange. Please. Give me my keys. Seconds after the customer leaves, a third customer in the waiting area asks,
That's right. Hit them financially, and that's what we need to do. I see that a lot. If you're being disrespected as an African American, you don't have to stay in that facility. Take your business somewhere else.
Exactly. I think it's something to do with reparations. Once word spread about the incident, the shop's owner, Josh Doherty, posted the footage online to explain what happened. He quickly removed the post and his business's Facebook page after receiving fierce backlash. What did your staff member mean by "I know right" in response to that customer?
She was thinking the holiday had a whole nother meaning. She was believing it had to do something with the school letting out teenagers where the teeth came from it.
WRAL made several attempts to contact the woman seen walking out in the video, which has now been shared widely on social media. Her relatives told us she was unavailable for an interview. Several accounts have voiced support for the woman. "Thank you for standing up for us at that shop, love," said one commenter. "You did the right thing," said another. The shop owner says he's since taken steps to educate the employee and the rest of his staff about Juneteenth, a holiday which became a federal observance in June 2021, commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S.
She doesn't really have a platform to say how much she apologizes for it and she wishes it never happened, but she tells me every day that, she wishes it didn't go down that way.
Thanks for walking with gratitude, the young lady that walked out of this shop. I got this from my ex-sister-in-law, Kim. Thank you, Kim, for this response. I love this. Walking into Juneteenth with gratitude for the resilience and determination of my ancestors, on whose shoulder I stand tall. Good morning, Grand Rising. I said that I am walking into Juneteenth, and that's what the sister did. She was so proud. And so she let everybody in that shop know that I am walking into Juneteenth with gratitude for the resilience and determination of my ancestors, on whose shoulder I stand tall. Grand Rising. Blessings and encouragement to you, young lady, for standing up for what you believe in. Standing up for our ancestors. When other people make fun of our holiday, they think it's a joke. But it's not no joke to the families such as you and I, who had to endure all of the trauma, generational trauma from behind this slavery. So that's why we walk into Juneteenth with gratitude, resilience, and determination, standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. So the owner of Synergy Auto Shop, or the manager, whoever he is, decide that he would just tell his side of the story. Why his customers and employees was giggling and chuckling over the Juneteenth holiday that frankly the black woman found offensive. But I noticed they don't see anything that they did wrong. They didn't think that this lady, they didn't think that she would catch on to what they were doing. Today's wow moment, we have multiple customers in the waiting room while their vehicles are being serviced, and we were checking ours to see if we needed any extra change, because the banks will be closed for Juneteenth holiday tomorrow. A customer overheard us say the banks were closed and asked us why they were closed. Our manager responded with, "It's Juneteenth, a federal holiday. They added a few years ago, 2021. The customer said, "Okie dokie." Our greeter said, "I know, right?" Then another one said, "I know, right?" Just a generic response. So that's how he feel about it. He has no compassion in his heart how the black woman felt. He felt like it was just a general response, but the black woman knew. The black woman knew that they were chuckling and giggling over that holiday that meant so much to us. Well, our ancestors' blood is soaked into the fabric of this earth. Yeah. So Juneteenth meant a lot to the African young lady in there. But anyway, the customer said, "Okie dokie," about Juneteenth being a holiday. And our greeter said, "I know, right?" Just a generic response. No faster than she finished speaking did another customer stand up and said, "Give me my truck. Give me my truck, pull my truck around, and give me my keys. I don't want nothing to do with done here." So he said it caught everyone completely off guard. Why? Because you didn't think she had sense enough to catch on that you guys was making fun of her of the holiday. I noticed the customer outside to ask her. Well, I followed the customer outside to ask her what happened since it was all so fast. She told me she was going live with this and that we were racist. I said, ma'am, I was right there and nobody said or did anything out of the way towards you or anyone else inside. She told me that we all laughed at her and were chuckling and mocking the holiday, and that I didn't know how that made her feel because she was black. She says, I'm still going live with this. So he decided he's going to go live, tell his side of the story before she did. Then he says, I generally don't do these kinds of things. But when you've been over backwards for all of your customers, no matter who they are, you didn't apologize to her or you didn't tell her that you were sorry for your customers. So anyway, he said, I've been over backwards. But when you've been over backwards for all your customers, no matter who they are, it stings to be accused of hateful things. I'm attaching the video so anyone stumbles across a hate post or video with Synergy Auto Care at the focus. You have seen the actually interaction for yourself. So this interaction, he finds nothing wrong with mocking and laughing at this lady's at our ancestors' holiday.